Okay, let's talk about rulers. Rulers come in all shapes and sizes, and the most accurate rulers are going to be your metal rulers because they are cut and precise. They're made to be more precise. You're not going to have any weird mistakes coming from metal rulers. This is an old ruler I've had for many, many, many years. You can see it's pretty rough. It is not perfectly accurate, so it's one of those that I love it, but it's not. It's just something for something quick. I don't really want to worry about measurements. I'm going to use this one because this one you can actually see. It's fairly simple, and sometimes they're just. I bought this one at the Frist. So sometimes they're just playful and they're meant for advertising. A lot of times they're used that way. So this one is fairly accurate, so I'm going to use it. I looked at it and I placed it here, and it's fairly close. It does go off a little bit, but it's all right. So I'm going to use it because it's easy to see the numbers for you guys. All right, now what if you don't have a ruler? So we're going to do a quick ruler. I'm going to just basically fold a piece of paper in half. And if I really want a good heavy edge, this is a pretty thin piece of paper, I'll do it again. And by just folding this paper in half, this edge is now straight. All right. And then if you consider that we have been told many times that the distance between this part of our knuckle and our end of our finger should be about 1 inch. I'm going to turn my ruler till I can see it. And it's pretty doggone close. So I could use that as a measurement. So I could use my finger here to make marks on a piece of paper. And then I lay these marks down. So I'll start right here using this as being the end of my ruler. And this is the end. And this is the first inch. 1. Then from there, I make another inch. 2. 3. And I would just keep going. And then if I was worried about if I was worried about where I was at, so 1, 2, 3, and then I'll do it one more time. 4. In case that was off the screen. It's kind of hard to keep track of where I'm at on the screen here. 4. Then I would just find halfway. So halfway between here and here, or you could do this. You could fold your piece of paper in half, and now you know where your half is, and you could lay it down here and mark it. If you're worried about being perfect, I'm not. I'm going to just do halfway marks. So they're a little shorter. Halfway between. Because I know how to cut a candy bar in half, so by golly, we're going to get it even. Okay. So now I can actually measure with this. I can use it, and I can make a straight edge with it. So I can measure, and I can draw a line. So you can make your own ruler. You do not have to not have a ruler. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to use a ruler, and we are going to measure 1.5 inch. We're going to make a 1.5 inch grid. Okay, some squares. So 1.5, then 1.5 inches. Here's 1.5, and then 1.5 inches again is 3. See, so there's 1.5. So 1.5, 1.5, 3, 4.5, 6, 7.5, 9, and then 10.5 will give you your 1.5 inch marks. All right, so these are the measurements that you'll need to do this graph. All right, so starting with the first paper. All right, I'm going to lay this ruler starts on the end, so I'm just going to lay it right here on the end of the edge of the paper, and I'm actually paying attention to this edge. I'm not really worried about what's happening here. And then I'm going to mark it at the 1.5 inches, 3, 4.5, 6, 7.5. And then I'm going to slide that ruler down. You need a point A, which is what these are, and then we're going to need a point B. And I think I need to go with the darker end of my marker because I don't think you guys can see it. Alright, so it's going to be fatter marks, but you're going to be using a pencil. So, 1.5 inches, 3, 4.5, 6, 7.5. And then I'm going to line up. Now, making a line there instead of a dot is really a good idea because it reminds you what direction you're supposed to be drawing this line. So now I'm going to hold that ruler, lining up that mark and this one. Hold it, pulling my pencil towards me. Then I line it up again to the next one. Pull my pencil towards me. So I'm lining up both marks, and actually I need to go here, I think. I don't think I can go up. Alright, well anyway, here we go. Keep going. Alright, so I am basically using both sets of marks to get my set of lines here. Now, here's the deal. You're going to have extra on this side that you're not going to use. That is not 1.5 inches, it's leftover, so we're going to ignore it. Alright, so there's my first set of lines. Now I'm going to turn my paper, lay my ruler down again, and I'm going to use those same numbers. This time I'm going to use more. I'm going to go all the way to 10.5. Alright, so 1.5 inches, 3, 4.5, 6, 7.5, 9, 10.5. Slide the ruler down. 1.5 inches, 3, 4.5, 6, 7.5, 9, and 10.5. Alright, you would be surprised how many people will not do a point A and a point B. They would rather try to figure out how to get this straight and then mess it up and then have to fix or erase rather than taking the extra moment that it's going to take to actually mark a point B. It always surprises me how people will just avoid marking a second time when you saw how quickly I could do it. So I'm working my way across, lining up my dots or my lines here, my little ones, making a mark, lining them up. I'm going to have a little left over, so you're going to expect to have leftover. Alright, that's going to give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 actual, and this is my grid now. And then I'm going to take a design that I have, and this is one of my old ones, and I'm going to basically draw it box by box. In order to do that, I have to look at the first box. So what I like to do is hide all the other because I really need to be looking at these more like shapes. So this is box 1. That's box 1. There's nothing in box 1. There is lines in box 2 and 3. There are no lines in box 4 and 5. Alright, so here we go. Alright, in box 2, one thing I can often do is I can look at where is center. So here is center, and here is center on this. So I'm definitely blowing this up. This is halfway between here and here. So I can find halfway between there and there. Okay. then I can see that this line is coming out of that corner, coming up. It's going through halfway right here and coming down to halfway between halfway right there. And I can see that because here's halfway, and then halfway between halfway is right there. And then on this one, it goes to halfway. When I drew these designs, I drew them in such a way that the majority of the spots are going between halfway in a box or halfway between halfway. I tried really hard to do that. It doesn't always work for every design. Now my first row of boxes is done. Move it down. Nothing in box 2. Definitely something in box 3. It's going to about halfway here, so I'm just going to bring it down. And then it comes into this box, turns the corner. Here's halfway. This line is going through here. It goes up, just a little squiggly. And then you're going to find halfway here. So that's where this is halfway right there. So I'm a little high on that. So we're going to go over that just a little bit higher. Then this one comes to halfway, and you see I'm actually trying to do as much as I can. This one's going to come over and down, and then from right here it's going to come out and over to halfway, and then another one. Alright, and that's what you're doing. Build it from line by line, spot by spot, until you've blown up the horse, okay? Or whatever other design you pick. You get to choose. Some of them are more difficult than others. I will put them, and I will make a reference to what they are. Usually in my box at school, the red ones are the hard ones, the blue ones are the easy, and the green ones were like mid-range. But anyway, this should be fun, and that's what you're going to do. You're going to do 2 grids and 2 sets of lines, and then you're going to actually pick 2 designs that you're going to blow up and create larger. And that's where you do it. That's what you're doing. Have fun.